Welcome back to Taj's Garden. I'm the gardening realtor. If you're new here, I'm glad you're here. And if you're returning, welcome back. So today we're going to be covering 20 plants that you could be starting right now in June. If you have not already started at this point, don't get nervous, don't overthink, don't overwhelm yourself. You still have plenty of time to start some things. And now is actually the perfect time to start planning what you're going to be starting in your fall garden. So we're going to cover things that you can start now, those heat-loving plants that thrive right now in the summer, and those plants that you could get started or start planning to get started next month or August for your fall garden. First up, we're going to talk about cantaloupe. So cantaloupe is super easy to grow. I grew it for the first time last year and I had an overabundance, way too many for me to eat. I ended up having to give them away to my neighbors and to friends. Literally every single day I was harvesting a cantaloupe or two. So if you have never grown cantaloupe and you love them, don't get discouraged. They are super easy to grow. You can definitely grow them. Next up, we're going to be talking about watermelon, okra, and pumpkin. So all three of these are heat-loving plants, of course, and I'll go ahead and add in corn. Corn is definitely a heat-loving plant. It does not grow well if it's still cool in your climate. This video specifically is for zone 7B, but if you are in a different zone, just pay attention to your climate. If it is really warm during the summer where you are right now, corn is fantastic to add to your list. Okra loves the heat. It basically grows itself whenever it's really hot outside. Watermelon, you guys know that I absolutely love Bush Sugar Baby watermelons. I don't consider myself to have a huge garden, so I want to make sure that I grow things that are not too big, that won't take up a huge amount of space, so that I can take advantage of my space and grow more things. So Bush Sugar Baby watermelon is always on my list. I love putting them in smoothies. My kids absolutely love them. This year I want to make some sorbet out of them, so I'm definitely going to take a video of that. I saw this recipe online that I definitely want to try, so stay tuned for that video. Next are your pumpkins. So again, I love to take advantage of my space. So this one right here is a Jacoby Little pumpkin. It's really small. I didn't have good success out of them last year. I'm pretty sure it's because of a little pest problem, but this year I'm going to sow extra of these just to make sure that we have some good success. So if you're wanting to grow pumpkin in your garden, June is the last month that you have to make sure that you get them in time for the fall. So make sure that you have this on your list. Next up are your beans. That is bush beans and pole beans. So these are the ones specifically I'm going to be growing. Blue Lake 274 bush bean. I also have a burgundy bush bean that I think I'll go ahead and add in the mix just to add a little bit of color. This right here are red noodle beans, and then I also had asparagus long beans. I think I ran out of those, so I may need to get some more of those. Remember, bush beans grow in a bush and your pole beans need to grow upwards on something. So if it's not a pole, make sure that you have some sort of trellis for them to grow upward on. But these are super easy to grow too, and they grow extremely well in the heat of the summer. And you can continue to grow these until the frost kills them off. Another thing that you can grow is black-eyed peas. They absolutely do amazing during the summer. I personally have never grown black-eyed peas, but if you want to add that to your list, they do amazing during the summer, especially when it gets really hot. So make sure that you add that to your list if that is something that you like to eat. Next up are cucumbers. You always need to make sure that you succession sow your cucumbers. They will produce until it's time for them to die off. They usually last about, at the most, maybe 2 months. You could try to push it for almost 3, but you'll start having disease issues and pest problems. So this one right here is a straight 8 heirloom one that you can start. This is 60 days to harvest. Remember to add on at least a week or two to give you a little bit of wiggle room with the germination rate. This one is my absolute favorite to grow. This is called the Big Deal, and it's actually a hybrid cucumber. It's 2 times bigger than your original size cucumber. I absolutely love these. These were super easy to grow. I had a huge yield of these, and they grew like a weed whenever the summer got here. I didn't have a lot of pest issues towards the fall. That's when they started to die off. That's when I started having cucumber beetles, noticing them. If you continue to succession sow them, you won't have any issues. When you see one is getting taken over, just go to your next one and start harvesting off of that other one. That's exactly what I did, and then start new seeds. If you continue to start new seeds, you will always have a cucumber harvest, and that's the goal. Another cucumber that I'm growing this year is this lemon cucumber. So this is my first year growing these. However, someone gave me some lemon cucumbers last year, and I thought they were a bit interesting. I ended up pickling them, and they were different. So I definitely want to grow them again this year and just kind of play around with the recipe and figure something out. Next up are your honeydew melons and your potatoes. So just like cantaloupe, honeydew melons grow amazing during the summer. So you want to make sure that you add that to your list. I think it is always important to have fruit in your garden along with the vegetables, because when you go to the store, you're going to get groceries. Fruit is the most expensive, so it helps if you have that in your garden. And then next is potatoes. So you guys know that I grow my potatoes every single month. As soon as I harvest some, I'm planting some more, and that is just to guarantee that I always have a harvest of potatoes. I absolutely love being able to harvest my own potatoes for the 4th of July and for Memorial Weekend, all of these holidays, and also just on a regular Tuesday if I want some mashed potatoes or a baked potato. I always want to make sure that I can get that from my garden and that I don't have to purchase anything. If you grow in abundance, you can also store them. I always start a new batch of potatoes every single month. After I harvest one, I start more, and August is the last month that I do that. So I am definitely going to be starting some more potatoes this month. I actually have a ton of potatoes that I need to start this month. Next up are your squashes. So if you want to start squash and you have not already started them, make sure that you add your winter squash and your summer squash. So zucchini, make sure that you have that on your list. And again, make sure that you have your winter squash on your list as well. Next up are two plants that I think that you should be starting now, or at least planning to get started very soon. If you already have tomatoes and tomatillo in your garden, however, if the tomato plants are not really doing so well or kind of dying off, you can actually go ahead and start some so that you can have some fall tomatoes and tomatillos. Tomatoes and tomatillos are not frost tolerant or frost hardy. So if you want to have them during the fall, you want to make sure you start them early enough. So now is actually the perfect time to get them started. They'll do amazing during the summer, and then they'll still have enough energy to produce for you when the fall hits. And then of course they will just die off during the winter time. If you want to make sure that you have a good harvest of tomatoes and tomatillos during the fall, now is the perfect time to go ahead and start a new batch of those. Speaking of fall gardening, a lot of gardeners make that mistake of waiting too long to start their fall garden. So the thing is, if you wait until fall to start your fall garden, the plant doesn't have enough time to actually get established before your first frost hits. My first frost is actually going to be sometime in October. Usually there is a light frost, and then we have a couple more weeks of warm weather, and then a hard frost. So what I need to do now, and what you need to do now if you're wanting to have a fall garden, you need to start planning and pay attention to the days of maturity. Add a week or two for the germination time. Just make sure that you have enough days for that plant to get established and start to produce for you before your first frost date. And some of these things on this list that you need to get started for the fall, you will need to start them in the shade, or you will need to start them indoors. I am going to be starting them indoors. This is my grow room right here. So I'll definitely be starting them indoors. And the main thing on that list that I'm starting indoors are my brassicas. The reason I'm starting them indoors is because if they get too hot, they will go ahead and bolt, and you don't want that. Bolting is when they go to flower and they start trying to produce their seeds. They grow in a specific temperature, and usually it is nothing above 85 degrees. As soon as broccoli, kale, collard greens, they can do okay. Cabbage, Brussels sprouts, any of these in this list, usually if they are in temperatures more than 85 degrees for a long stretch of time, they will end up going to flower and bolting on you, or their growth will be stunted, and then they'll just take forever to recover from that. So what I am going to do is start mine at the end of this month indoors, and then I will move them outside in under some shade cloth so that they can get established in time and I can get a harvest before the frost comes. With broccoli, I am definitely going to, after I cut that head off in the fall, I'm going to continue to harvest those side shoots. And the reason is because broccoli is frost tolerant, and the broccoli is actually going to be a bit tastier once it gets a little bit of frost. Now those collard greens are also something else that is going to be a bit tastier once it gets a little bit of frost. Another thing that is tasty when it gets frost is lettuce, and you guys always know carrots as well. I absolutely love growing carrots during the winter time, so if you're new here, you're probably going to hear me say that on a lot of my videos. I don't eat my carrots unless I grow them during the winter time because they just taste weird to me if I don't grow them during the right time. So collard greens are also something else that you can add to that list. I am looking forward to harvesting some collard greens once the fall hits. Now, if you're wanting to start lettuce, you can actually start lettuce every single month. You can really grow lettuce all year round if you have the right type of lettuce. So right now I recommend you growing heat tolerant varieties. They're going to be a lot easier, and the reason is because if you grow a cold tolerant one, it is going to bolt on you. It won't, if you don't harvest it in time, it's going to go to flower and you will not get a chance to eat it. A heat tolerant variety that I recently purchased is Marvel of the Four Seasons. It has a hint of red in its leaves and it's so beautiful. That red actually protects it from the sun. So it's the perfect addition to your garden if you're wanting to add some lettuce. And last but not least is Swiss chard. So Swiss chard is definitely heat tolerant, and if you're wanting a spinach replacement or a spinach substitute, Swiss chard is the perfect thing to add to your list. The leaves give me spinach vibes, but the stalks actually give me celery vibes. So I don't really eat the stalks like that. If you cook it, you can make it taste different, you know, but if you eat it raw, it's definitely going to give you celery vibes. If you want something spinach, the leaves are absolutely perfect. Now that is all 20 plants that you are going to be able to start in June. If you're wanting to start a fall garden, remember June is the perfect time to start your planting. You don't have to start everything right now. You can actually start a little bit every single month. I'm going to be starting some in June, July, and August. So I will definitely keep you guys posted on what I'm going to be starting and when I'm going to be starting it. If you have any questions, drop them down in the comments below. If you're going to be growing something different this year, please let me know down in the comments. If I did not talk about it in this video, I would love to know what you're going to be growing in your garden. And if you want to be a part of an amazing gardening community, head on over to Facebook, type in Prosper and Plant. We have finally gotten over 300 members, and I look forward to having even more. If you join the group, we are an amazing, friendly community. We talk about gardening over there. We give advice. We share our photos and our harvests. There are people in the group from all around the United States. So if you are wanting to join a friendly gardening community, go ahead and type in Prosper and Plant on Facebook, hit join, and I'll see you over there.